Welcome back to Part 2. In Part 1, we revealed how data centers are expanding at an unprecedented rate. But where is all this energy and water coming from, and who is truly paying the price? While data centers are digital, their impact on local water supplies is very physical and often permanent. In drought-prone regions like California, Arizona, and the Pacific Northwest, these facilities are often described as guzzling local resources. In Pima County, Arizona, a project nicknamed Project Blue was estimated to require up to 31 million gallons of water annually, even after the city of Tucson rejected its request to use city water resources. The problem isn't just the quantity of water used, it's also about what happens to the water after it leaves the facility. Thermal pollution is a major concern, as water used for cooling is often returned to the environment at much higher temperatures, which can kill fish and disrupt local ecosystems. There are also significant risks of contamination. In a startling recent case in Cheyenne, Wyoming, a metadata center was named as the source of a contamination incident that shut down 2 city water reclamation plants for months. A rare and resistant bacterium called Cupriavidis gilardi was detected in the city's sanitary sewer following a fill and flush operation at the data center site. This forced the city to indefinitely suspend the treatment of reclaimed water from data center projects, raising serious fears that if the contaminated water had been reused on public parks or golf courses, it could have caused human infections. Similarly, in Morgan County, Georgia, residents have raised concerns that a massive data center project contaminated their drinking water, leading some to rely entirely on bottled water. Data centers are currently the single largest source of expected electricity load growth in many parts of the country. In Northern Virginia's Data Center Alley, these facilities already account for roughly 21% of the entire state's utility load, and that number is projected to double by 2038. This massive non-stop demand is pushing existing power grids to their limits. In the Pacific Northwest, the Northwest Power and Conservation Council warned that the risk of annual blackouts could jump from 5% to over 13% if the high growth projections for data centers come true. To meet this demand, some utilities are being forced to keep old, polluting coal and methane gas power plants running longer than originally planned, which directly undermines state climate goals. There is also a significant financial risk for regular families. When a utility has to spend billions of dollars on new transmission lines and power plants to serve data centers, those costs can sometimes be shifted onto residential ratepayers. Some communities have already seen double-digit percentage increases in their electricity bills as a result. Furthermore, there is the danger of stranded assets. If a data center company decides to close a facility or move its operations after a utility has spent millions upgrading the grid specifically for them, the remaining local residents could be left paying off those expensive upgrades for decades. For those living near a data center campus, the impact is felt every single day through what is often described as a constant 24/7 low-frequency hum. This noise comes from massive cooling fans and mechanical equipment that must run around the clock. Unlike a construction site that eventually goes quiet, data center noise never stops, which can lead to sleep deprivation and decreased quality of life for nearby residents. Land use is another major flashpoint. Data centers are often massive windowless boxes that can occupy thousands of acres of what was previously farmland, forest, or historic land. In Virginia, more than 7,000 acres of land have already been converted to data center use. This leads to the destruction of valuable habitats and the loss of land that could have been used for housing or local businesses. Finally, let's talk about the air you breathe. Most data centers house dozens or even hundreds of large diesel generators for backup power. During power outages or even during routine weekly testing, these generators release nitrogen oxides and fine particulate matter, or PM2.5. These pollutants are linked to serious health issues, including heart attacks and respiratory illnesses. one proposed data center project in Virginia was estimated to emit over 300 tons of these pollutants annually, potentially exposing over 7,500 people to dangerous concentrations of air pollution. In the Pacific Northwest, the explosion of data centers is creating a direct conflict with the survival of iconic species like salmon and steelhead. Many data centers in this region rely on cheap carbon-free hydropower from dams on the Columbia and Snake Rivers. However, this clean energy comes with a hidden cost for fish. During power emergencies, which are becoming more common as the grid is stressed by data center loads, dam operators often stop spilling water over the dams. Spilling water is a primary protection measure that helps juvenile salmon safely bypass the deadly power turbines. When the spill is stopped to maximize electricity generation for the grid, migrating salmon are forced through the turbines, leading to significantly higher mortality rates. Additionally, the high demand for power during peak periods forces dams to ramp up and ramp down their output rapidly. These large fluctuations in river levels can trap fish in shallow water or delay them in slow-moving reservoirs where they are more likely to be eaten by predators. The Yakima Nation has warned that this massive load growth is likely contrary to decades of efforts to restore healthy salmon populations and honours the treaty rights of sovereign tribal nations. While 90% of construction professionals think AI is indispensable, only a tiny fraction of the public knows the actual water and energy footprint of the data centers in their community. If you live in an area with data center development, attend local board meetings and ask about special use permits rather than by right development to ensure there are public hearings and noise protections in place. States like Washington are considering laws that would require data centers to prove they have enough firm, clean power before they can even start construction, preventing them from straining the local grid. Not all data centers are created equal. Newer technologies like liquid cooling or air-cooled chillers can reduce water use by up to 28%, but many companies only adopt these if they are required to do so by local building codes. In Quincy, WA, data center tax revenue allowed the city to pave 95% of its streets and build a new hospital. A single large facility can use as much power as 80,000 homes and millions of gallons of water per day. The massive increase in commercial value in Grant County, WA, drove down residential levy rates by 70%. Blackout risks can more than double in regions where data center growth exceeds grid capacity. The data center industry contributed nearly 48,000 direct and indirect jobs in Washington state in 2023. Thermal pollution and bacteria risks threaten local water, while dam operations kill migrating salmon. These facilities power the essential services we all use, from medical records to the AI revolution. Residents face constant 24/7 noise and air pollution from dozens of commercial-scale diesel backup generators. Data centers are no longer just warehouses for servers. They have become the critical, invisible infrastructure powering our modern civilization. They bring billions of dollars in tax revenue and have the power to transform rural towns by building new schools, hospitals, and sidewalks. But as we've seen, that digital prosperity comes with a very real physical price tag. The cloud isn't made of air. It's made of steel, electricity, and billions of gallons of water. As we move into an era of Gigawatt AI, the balance between our digital demands and our physical resources has never been more delicate. The question we must all ask is not whether we need the cloud, but how we can build it in a way that doesn't sacrifice our water, our silence, or our wildlife to keep it running. Do you live near a data center? Have you noticed the hum or seen your local utility rates rise? We want to hear your story in the comments below. If you found this breakdown of the hidden systems of our world valuable, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the technology and infrastructure shaping our future. Your support helps us keep bringing you the truth about the world's most complex systems. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.